Good to Golf Galaxy.
Inside President Bio in 4 year in governance, waiting the government on do so far for the people of Sierra Leone. And at the studio this morning, I want for welcome we studio guest them where they can look at this topic. First, I want for introduce to the chairman and leader for the National Grand Coalition (NGC), winner Dr. Dennis Bright. Good morning and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salone.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
We're also going to the studio this morning, the National Publicity Secretary for the Sierra Leone People's Party, SLPP, Lahai Leema. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mabel. Good morning, listeners. Thank you for being here.
Well, we already introduced to the topic for this morning as President Bio in led administration take up office inside April 2018 after the National Electoral Commission NEC been announced say he win the 2018 presidential election. And now the new direction manifesto the president being used for Kana power. Also, he be make promise them as to waiting he go do for Salone people them where he be president. Well, but 4 years down the line, today the democracy one for no waiting this Bio-led administration don't do for Salone people them. And for the purpose of this program, we want for focus particularly on issues we get for do with directly Salone people them. And among them and there we get the living condition of the people them, political inclusion, infrastructure, rule of law, and other one them. As we don't introduce we studio guests them now the program. We first person where we talk about now the program this morning now Lahai Leema, we now the National Publicity Secretary now the Sierra Leone People's Party as the Bio-led administration come from the SLPP. They can't tell listeners them waiting they don't do so far inside the past 4 years where this administration don't the napa. So Lahai Leema, the ball then I cut now. Let you start for tell listeners them inside the past 4 years. Firstly, how you go describe the Bio-led administration, how you go describe them to Salone people, especially when you take into consideration what the government don't do for the living condition of Salone people, how you go describe the governance?
Well, one for say, so far the government don't really accomplish most of the tax or promises we make to the people of Sierra Leone. In so far for improve the livelihood of we people them and also keep the country going. And so I want to say assessing it from within this 4 years perspective, President Bio achieve, if not 100%, but 90% of his promise to the people of this country.
All right, 90% you say President Bio accomplish of the promises them way they make to Salone people. And well, before we can go into details as to how you get to that calculation, they say 90% accomplishment for President Bio administration. Like I just being Dr. Dennis Bright inside, he come out at the National Grand Coalition. On ourselves done the monitor, waiting on the happen as part of the governance structures and waiting President Bio-led administration don't do inside the past 4 years. How the NGC describe President Bio in leadership inside the past 4 years?
Well, since we talk about the people, the program as you introduce them now, the kind of impact we the administration, the work we don't get on the lives of the people of this country. Me go tell you say waiting most people and they talk about now the hardship in the country. And we as NGC, we've been done try for do a lot for document in very, very simple way how hardship they increase in Salone. So on the whole, and we will go into details later, but me can tell you now say the people and they grumble a lot about the living conditions within the town.
Lahai Leema saying 90%, looking at the living condition of the people or improving the living standard of Salone people, we talk about thing for eat, side for sleep, is movement of the people for fend their and tumults. You say una don't achieve 90%. What are some of the things way you go call say una don't complete we make up of this 90%?
Well, firstly, we understand say people and livelihood situation a broad one, and no government all the way they can tell you say they target everything, but government get forget to call a set plan way in a manifesto. And out of the manifesto today, you get for prioritize certain things then we want to accomplish what the president been do. The president, when we start initially, we get up to 18 to 21 priority programs, and we get with first retreats where we able for reduce them to 8, and from 8 we also go further for reduce them to 3. And out of that 3, we able for prioritize education as the hub for able for build on the human capital development, and also we look at agriculture and health. And when you take a look at education, which the president or this government been talk about delivering on free quality education in first 3 months when we even inherit this country, when the economic situations be really in shambles, donors then don't turn back from this country. We're able to make sure we get some sound economic policy reforms, and also develop, improve on revenue generation. We're able to give government the capacity for able to roll out the free quality education program. And also because of the economic reforms, then they're able to attract the donor bodies them again for refocus budgetary allocations, or even help government in terms of resource allocation for help government with them programs. So that be able to help on the free quality education programs. And also taking a look at agriculture. The president don't inspire so much because he see agriculture as one of the base. We're going to help them for achieve what you call revenue, for able to do this economic diversification, for able to achieve the economic diversification program. So you see agriculture as the pathway, and therefore encourage citizens for able to see that path, and also empower the ministry self where they in charge for able to develop policies them way able for encourage farmers them for able to engage in production. And for make you also for achieve this, you also get for improve on the road networks. What in this government don't do as well now for try for connect even bridges, roads same way, difficulties be done they forget commodities and for able for access the market. As I don't had the talk, the roads that would lead to international markets then like the Kwendu areas in the Balamuya, these are roads and way constructions they go on with the think of reviving the Kwendu market. These are all programs that we government undertake in terms of also improving on agriculture, tractors, and other agricultural implements them way government do able for make sure so they don't reach out to time to farmers. Government do able for make sure so they don't reach out to time to farmers them. Then don't even encourage private investment into the agriculture arena. This year or the year we just die out. We get a lot of rice farming where people are not able for even harvest. Government they see the need for also tap into that area for come with a lot of combined harvesters for able for help farmers them for able for cultivate them products. I mean for harvest them products the way then they produce. And a lot of people also they engage in cash crop productions and also seed multiplication and also even giving seeds to people. These are areas in terms of health as well. Health now one of the areas that they again where governments don't make sure say it don't improve on now. The government promised for like give 15% from 8 to 7 to 8% to inherit. Government be done the work towards achieving the 15% budgetary allocation. Even though we not reach that target yet, but we talk about 11 to 13% achievement of budgetary allocation to the health sector,
Leema,
and also other development programs and way the government will achieve in terms of employment and also cleaning the payroll and ensuring that we employ health service workers. First we don't get health service worker employed up to 4,000. There has been an approval for 3,000. We then get for the do by 1,000 on a yearly basis.
Look at the people and well body. Let we start as we say the living condition and standards of the people and the thing they waiting forget first for it before they get the well body way you be not me explain but waiting governments don't do now the health sector. Let me go back to one thing when you start for talk about we get for the agriculture. You make mention of tractors, them rice farming where you say the president be don't encourage people them for go into. Now us impact or difference the thing the way these governments don't do per agriculture don't make now the lives of Salone people and taking into consideration the cost of seeing them in the market.
Well, in terms of cost, it's a global issue. First of all, we have to give this government a tap on the back when we talk of the outbreak of corona. Let nobody not underestimate them, especially with Sierra Leone, a net importing country. We all think where they eat depends on waiting people and the import into this country. And with the advent of corona, where they affect the world, we're not just like Ebola, we're now within the Mano River Union Base CBD, but corona they talk about affecting the whole world supply chain. And even with that, government able to put sound economic policy, also livelihood policies for make sure say the impact of the corona no affect the people them, yet people then still able to get access to commodities in the market and also create that peaceful atmosphere for let people then go about their normal business, able for make sure say then sustain their living. Now coming for look at how also this the impact on people them. The government, even with the impact of the corona, not ever short for pay salaries to workers and also provide donation to people them we not able for we are vulnerable people them we not able for get access for able for get employment for salary. So these are all steps we government don't take for able for improve on the livelihood of people. In terms of our cultural development, like I tell you, a lot of people engage in rice production where a lot of wastage be there because of the harvesting. And government, they look forward for get combined harvesters for make sure say we're not able to get them wastages. And if we're able for harvest all of them rest for productions that they do, we're able to get enough now the market. Some will engage in cash crops. Cash crops, you're not able to achieve in 2 or 3, 4 years time. Perhaps like with the improved varieties that we've done the minimum time length where they look at for begin achieve that, it will take you something like 5 years.
Make a holiday quick, Lahai Lawrence Leema and Kanto, Dr. Dennis Bright, we other studio guest. Dr. Dennis Bright, don't listen, Lahai Lawrence Leema, don't talk about policies, don't talk about what he said they don't achieve in 3 to 4 years' time. And the National Grand Coalition, don't they do a survey in a market for see the living condition of the people. For Muna survey them, then policies and laws and reforms them in any way reflect the living condition of the people.
We had to listen to me, younger brother, Lawrence, Lahai Leema, they talk. I wonder if they realize the people and they listen to her. Because right now, the people that they listen to her, they go tell like they mock them based on the kind of life we then they live. That we on done they do now from March 2018. Now we done they go now they market them. We monitor the prices of commodities them and how then they go up, and up. We don't do about 7 or 8 of them surveys then they do it regularly. So if you see now you can see the graph how prices then they rise, but then the people them income virtually they remain stagnant. That's one of the ways then that's what they take for know how things they get difficult in this country. Not to just the people the way they consume, no more they complain. Even the people the way they do business safe, they complain how things they tranga. If you go to a place like Equa Street, you go see some place they don't they lock because people are not able to make ends meet. Somebody just tell me about this GST and then 15%. See, in fact, then they get meetings safe now. Or we get for do with taxation and how they squeeze some of the business people. But for come to concrete things them, because not a policy people and they eat. And you can peel out all the policies the way you don't do. Not to that people and they eat. People they want to know exactly how all the entire way you see they do, they affect their life, their daily life. When they wake in the morning, waiting and they get them picking them for it. Now that now we interested in. Because let me make no mistake, non-government no go come, we go there for 1 year self, they not do nothing. Government all over the world, we then put them in a work, then get for work. But now whether the work way they do, it they make a difference in people in life, now that's what they assess.
So then police then they don't work inside this 4 year?
If you ask the people then go tell you. Different things the way they don't do. Like take one, they talk about agriculture. I hear beaucoup things, seed multiplication, tractor, this and that. Me go on for ask what happen with Tomabon. Tomabon who don't hear but all this while, in fact, they don't show pictures then. Now somebody they tell me the other day, see the machine them, tractor and whatever we then get it, they don't put na the ground this so now. We they not the user. This Tomabon. Where they don't ring now, you stay. Pass after 4 years, they can be very proud for tell you say, well, we don't import Boku rice back. We be mean say by now they're not going to bluff we with ship load of rice. So about the road network and how all that don't help agriculture, but we know they see them in the daily lives of the people. This nine are the problem. So for me, I think earlier, some time ago, I came to this program, I don't make this comment. Where Lahai they talk about the manifesto and the 90% or 100% where they don't deliver on the manifesto. Maybe this is a lesson where all government them from now on for learn from. That your manifesto it get for be adjusted to the needs, the felt needs of the people. The priority of the government, it get for coincide with the priority of the people. If that connection they not there, you go find out, say, you go to clap for yourself, you go congratulate yourself, say, I don't achieve everything I mean. One moment, I don't achieve everything I mean manifesto. But then the people are still the grumble. And you wonder why then they grumble where I don't deliver all what I say. Now because that connection they not there between waiting the people they want and what you say na your own priority.
So you think say the new direction manifesto no they in line with the need or felt need of Salone people?
Well,
is that the case?
Look inside the no more. You go see them for yourself. Because if the new direction, the bluff now say they don't achieve 100% within them say they go do, me not in any position for saying a lie. That they don't achieve her. But why people in the grumble now, like how they grumble so in this country? And this grumble, they are not to one part of the country, do. Everywhere in the country you go. You go na Bo, you go na Kenema, you go Kailan, you go Pendembu, you go Tabaka, you go Kono, every side.
So like you say earlier on, I don't do surveys now different markets them for the past 7 to 8 reports them where you say una don't poll inside this 4-year period. Any difference there in terms of the living condition of the people? I'm gonna see any variation towards improvement.
You know, say the prices them where if you see the graph, sometimes in day some of them can go high, sometimes they drop back. You know, now exactly how we see them, that's what they put her. But when you look the general, you find out say all now on the increase today. But what we can do, I don't know if now they follow what you can do, not to just the prices, the normal they look. We can take, like for instance, a typical family of 4, and we take say somebody where they work, and they get the minimum wage. How we go able to feed a family of 4? That is papa, mama, and 2 pikin. And we know say beaucoup family they will get, especially the low income families, then big past that. But we can take that family of 4. What we'll discover is that if they spend, like right now, according to some of the prices they will get, this 2020. According to some of the prices they will get, this 2022 year, if they spend the 600,000 within they get, this government now increase the minimum wage from 500,000 to 600,000. But if they use that 600,000 they for feed themselves alone, now only 8 days, now in that money they end. That they not pay for transport, they not pay rent, they not buy clothes, they not do nothing. Right. Now only 8 days now they last for. So now that now just one of the ways then where you're able to see how people in the suffer. And not to just people and we no get money no more. Even the person where they earn safe instead of the grumble. But if na lie they lie, the people where they listen to this radio, then we're able for judge.
Lahai Lawrence Leema, looking at some of the things that we don't achieve and the way you don't mention as an achievement and the investments where you don't talk about in the area of improving the living condition of the people. In any way, the government they check if this investment they get impact on the living condition of the people.
But definitely, government gets a team where actually they do a survey for know how this the impact on the people then. And the reason why Doc they mentioned I say the people that they grumble now because of the misinformation. Because Doc says that the constraint for putting ideals there because it's not able for really pierce into a policy reforms them where government don't make it.
So
they say no, they like talk say now address some of the issues that we raise. Talk say no to policy people that it, but if you not got the right policy framework, then there is no way you're going to implement.
So you think certain policies don't impact on the people and living
definitely, definitely. If they talk about let's say you paying people somebody 600,000, they don't get a family of 4. Now you get a family of 4. That family of 4 we get if then they go school, they're not going for pay school fees. Yeah, they get a very minimum amount when they pay for transportation. Then get core textbooks them where government don't provide. You don't understand? And so that's alone now a burden where government don't pull commot pan some of them parents and the parents that will get girl picking the way they go school, especially the one that way they do sciences. When you pass your science, you pass your secondary school education and you're able to pursue science, you not get for pay university fees. So government don't do a lot for take away the burden where at least it not go be too much put too much of pressure on that small money where you get. So when we come now, you doing survey on price increase and you talk about decrease in price. This now for tell you how sincere and committed the government they. Also, way government don't pull taxes on so many commodities that were very essential to the livelihood of people in this country. So not a government get for go take money, go put on somebody in pocket. Now it make the right environment, the secured environment and safe environment is created so that people get for go about for try for maybe for make sure say they're able for earn their living. We understand clearly say government's not able for employ everybody and government's not the principal body way they provide employment for people and so now that make government they work for improve their social amenities the way they even encourage investment like electricity generation. Take it for instance when we take over governance, we been get fluctuations even though the problem we always say don't totally stabilize. When they get fluctuations in terms of electricity distributions or energy supply. Now there's huge problem beyond the energy ministry takes step through some of the reforming policy measures the way this government don't take up for able for check waiting on some of them problems and you will find out say the energy minister or three ministry don't able for work for make sure say then do a survey for even check on distributions and even expanding on the network especially where the city self they grow. So today we know they say we get total our 100% light but at least we get some sustainable light or electricity generation. Now we'll also look at even the MOU or the agreement where government don't go sign with this transnational energy supply plant where government don't sign with Ivory Coast. Even that self they able for also help for provide electricity generation. All of them are put together. It will encourage investment because if investment, private investment get for Ghana, any country, then they look at the light facility way actually they or we affordable for time for engage in the industrial development way now an alternative than the way we go for help government for able for employ people them.
So
but
Leema,
yes,
inside 4 year governments from the SLPP perspective when are convinced when are able for stabilize the living condition of people them.
Definitely. In terms of living, the price increase we make reference to now say it affects people and livelihood. Now, this country, of course, except he not follow international news, but I'm very sure he's following international news, and he has to be very honest with the people of this country. That increment in prices not only Sierra Leone. In fact, Sierra Leone, they try. So when you check other countries and within the sub-region, Sierra Leone gets relatively cheaper prices in terms of the service that they deliver to people in this country. Check even in the UK, they don't get about increment in price in prices. You go to the US, then get increment in prices. Where even world news the talk say ever in the history of the United States, this is not the time where actually they don't get increment in prices of commodities away people. But this not because of the corona where it affect the supply chain. They side away then commodities and they come out because of lockdowns. They're not they produce, so there is gap, and that's the actually affect or it impacts the flow of commodity supplies in the market, and that therefore affects it therefore affects prices. If dog can't sit down, you they find as a dog they even strain for putting ideas because it really no one for because it in our position and no one for commend the effort of government they make for able for still sustain their livelihood for people and let people able for get their way for go about achieving a livelihood. We know so not to everybody employed. And I make we say the government gets a scheme where actually they help for give microcredits like the Munafa Fund to business people them over and above all vulnerable people them we not able for do business government also they provide cash transfer through the donor help or donor assistance. Government they provide cash transfer to some of them people in there. And government, because of the revenue generation against all of these as well, government not on lacking in terms of paying salaries. So when we talk of livelihood, these are all the factors where you check. And if you also check of even in terms of infrastructural development, from this period, this 4 years period, you see say there is high demand for building materials. If the economy or the revenue is not really flowing, people will not be going ahead building. So this is all how for make you able for know say the livelihood of people, they get some positive impact.
Earlier, you be make mention of the minimum wage where Dr. Bright been say, according to the survey them way then they do, the 600.
You know what it's like when plaque psoriasis makes you
say, according to the survey them way then they do, the 600,000 just for feeding. Now 8 days they take for a family, and you be make mention of earlier say that's not true because you explain say government don't reduce the bonnet on people so waiting for the pay transportation don't reduce school facilities them government they provide some books them for the government perspective, and you they come from the SLPP way now they currently in a power the 600,000 minimum wage where Dr. Bright says they do for 8 days for people how on they look the 600,000 they do for upkeep a family of 4 for example.
But that's why but that's the minimum wage where you look at. It not necessarily means say
to consideration bag of rice, the cost of and other thing them for it.
It not necessarily means say because they say 600,000 minimum wage. That is what a good number of the country's population they receive as a salary.
But I go tell you, a good number of the country population they receive minimum wage and even lesser.
Over and above that, the government equally so they encourage people and will not get access for even get that 600,000 minimum wage. Foresee also the pathway of agriculture as a viable path. When you go to countries like Uganda, largely waiting then depend on agriculture. In areas which say, of course, you know, even gets like facilities and like this way, so the government going to provide for people or even assist people of the nature. The people then largely depend on farming, and in fact, you define and say it difficult for like somebody even get access for buy in company in your own. So then they feed on what then they produce. We get an agriable land and the land really fertile. Government equally so they help.
How they happen as Salone currently. That comparison where they make to other countries they happen as Salone currently.
Like
where the people they farm to an extent where for buy you company yourself you get you.
That is why government they encourage Sierra Leoneans for citizens for see agriculture also as an alternative means for able for diversify the economy. The provision they like even governments they are under the youth scheme program and also the TVET program. First of all, government they even train people and for not just only engaging in farming, but even how you for process for the value addition, and at the same time, government they also provide seeds where then they able for help farmers them will then seize the day. So government they provide also machinery able for facilitate the work of farmers, and people can form themselves in cooperative and also see that pathway for able for make sure say then get then diversify their livelihood.